So to finish up the story on the last episode, well, the story actually ended, so we continue. Because I told you about the instances when Mamu and the other people who would work with her. I think she told me Vava might have been with her at one time. I mean, she called the names of the people who used to work. And alas, I really wish I had written down the stories or recorded my grandmother, but I have them somewhere there, so I'll try and bring them out to you. So this idea of scaring them away from their food while they were walking down to Portsmouth to sell their produce, they started bringing some men among them, and she told me a few names too. Who they brought. I don't want to call these people's name because you never know, families might react differently from families in terms of calling family names. But he's a short man. And they say he was a Dillarans too. But he now had the art of dispelling those kind of evil. So he was among them, and he told them, man, that's not nothing, man. All you have to do, if you see a man, a long man, all you have to do is reach for his crotch area and pull, and he must run. And then he showed them some little technique. My grandmother told me how to deal with those situations. But that is stories for probably when we're on the bullseye, having a Calibishie bonfire reunion. We will get them stories out. So they'll realize that it was trickery to get them to get the stuff, the food. And my grandmother told me, so they persisted and continued on to Portsmouth. And what used to happen following that episode was, in a very clever and subtle way, some major business owner, or let me say owners, would tell the people from Portsmouth that they should not buy the food at the market from the people from the north who came down to sell. Don't buy, wait, buy late, and don't buy a lot. So, remember I said on a couple episodes ago that my grandmother and them would walk to Portsmouth overnight from a Friday night to get there Saturday morning early to sell at the market. No rest there, hardly, just a little slip in between, a little rest, a little cat nap. Sell the products, and they go down with so much load because they would carry like maybe 50 pounds, sometimes 100 pounds of food on their heads, on tosh. You can't carry that. You can't carry a basket of food on your shoulder. Some people have food in the quarter. My grandmother told me, but there's so much you can carry. You can carry more on your head than on a quarter. So, when you go down there for 100 pounds of food, you have to sell the food before you come back up. You can't carry the food back up with you. So the people from Portsmouth, especially a particular man, used to say, Pagay magia hodsemunla. Wait, buy small, buy smart, buy late. So, the people wanted to sell their food because they had to leave Portsmouth by a particular time to get back up. In time to get ready, prepare for Mass, because Mass was a big thing. And I will speak about that too on some of the programs. So food didn't sell or food selling late. People have to decide to go, so they either sell it cheap or they go back with it. So the big business owner now, one of the most wealthy people in the north and in Dominica, in terms of the size of land and stuff that he had, would buy all the food that's remaining from the people who came down. So he say, I will buy everything from you, and when you come down next week, you'll get your money. So the man would buy all the food, put it in his place. He would sell food for an entire week or for a few days, making twice the amount of money that my grandmother and them would have made. So of course he's getting very wealthy. And when they came down the next day, he would say, no, and he would give them whatever he wants to give them. If I have beer, me say good, me say this is good. A few kappas, and that's what they would get. So this man controlled the business for years, and he made lots of money, became very wealthy. So my grandmother called his name and told me about the situation, but I cannot call his name because I don't think it would be right so to do. But it's a story which I know is true, and there can be so many stories like this told about the not exploitation, but yeah, you can say the exploitation of the capitalist system. And that man was one of the major capitalists at the time. So let me leave that story here until another story. But I can share so many of these, but probably, I think it's better done in the Calibishie setting. Probably Webster and these guys should arrange a sort of a bonfire, bullseye kind of a storytelling night, and people like me would be very happy to come and share some of my stories. Not just me, because many people have stories, but I think we should probably do that in Calibishie. It's necessary. And probably sometime in the future we should. Chase, maybe that's something that you should pick up in terms of the council. Plan it early and let's do it. It is very necessary that we do. More to come here on Calibishie Chronicle.